Welcome back to Fox and Friends First. A case sparking international outrage. A woman admitting to stabbing her boyfriend, and then the judge lets her off. All because jail, he says, might dim her, quote, bright future. Well, here now to react to that is the founder of the Conservative Millennial blog and a contributor at The Blaze, Allie Beth Stuckey. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So the deal is, her name is Lavinia Woodward, and she was a medical student. She's actually trying to become a surgeon, and she stabbed her boyfriend in the leg. But the judge said, you know, she's too smart to go to jail, basically, is what he said.
Right, absolutely. And, you know, as a conservative, I'm not necessarily very quick to label every instance of injustice as something of privilege. But that's exactly what it is in this case. She's a student at Oxford. She comes from a very well-to-do family. And this judge decided that instead of enacting justice in a way that's objective and fair, that he would base it on some subjective standard of whether or not she's going to be successful. So obviously, in addition to the favoritism that we're seeing based on her wealth,
and she's 24 years old, we should say.
Exactly, and her potential success, I think we're also seeing two things that we see mirrored in society. And one is the perpetuation of adolescence through the abdication of responsibility. Like you said, that she is 24 years old. She's obviously a very smart girl. She goes to Oxford. She is well on her way to having an advanced career. If she's smart enough to do those things, you would think that she would also be smart enough not to stab her boyfriend with a butter knife.
And on that note, though, let's take a look at what the judge actually had to say. This is Judge Ian Pringle on her sentencing, and he said, quote, "It seems to me that if this was a one-off, a complete one-off to prevent this extraordinary able young lady from not following her long-held desire to enter the profession she wishes to, would be a sentence which would be too severe." So that's what he had to say about it.
Yeah, and this is the second thing I want to say, going off of that, is that this would not be happening if this was a male. And so what I'm also seeing in society
it
is
has happened before, though. Ethan Couch, though, had a similar case.
That's true, and I think it's probably not happening quite as much. I can't imagine if her boyfriend had done the same thing, because this is the second time she's actually skirted jail time for doing something like this. Yes, I can't imagine that if her boyfriend had stabbed her with a bread knife and maybe didn't have the same status, that he would be skirting jail time as well. So we kind of see this lopsided victimization of women that I just don't think is fair.
Right, and on that note, here's a quote we have from Mark Brooks. He's the chairman of the Mankind Initiative, and he's an advocate for male domestic abuse victims. And he says he actually agrees with you. The judge seems to think that domestic abuse, when it is committed by a woman against a man, is not as serious as it rightly is when it is the other way around.
Right, and I'm all for grace and second chances and compassion, but there's also a sense of wisdom and of justice that, of course, has to be enacted in a court of law. And I'm actually afraid that this young woman might be worse off for not learning how to pay for her consequences.
Exactly. At some point, you have to learn your lessons, and that seems to be an underlying theme across many areas right now. You know, just kind of skirt past it and try to learn a lesson, I don't know, some other way.
Exactly. And we see that sense of entitlement among millennials everywhere.
Yeah. Well, not all of them, though. Allie, thank you so much for joining us.